Like that's so freeing to go like, I'm gonna make this no matter what.
I've been making art my whole life.
Is that mural still there? I don't even know how to bring it in, man. What do we even do here? Your energy and your rawness is safe here with me because I understand it. Because if it's human and it matters, then it should make you emotional. You should care about it.
Turns me on. You know?
Hell yeah. You know what I like about you? You mean it.
But art is not optional.
This is the art is not optional.
Being an artist has nothing to do with what the medium is.
Yes.
You know,
I'm so glad you said that.
Last night, like 2 years to find a building because everybody was like, no, I don't want that painted on my building. Caught in the middle of a drive-by. Yo, don't come. You know, abort. Makes you cry every time.
We've talked about it as a rising tide raises all ships. I have been so blessed.
I'm going to do whatever I want, which is, you know.
Yeah, we're with you, bud.
The whole border of this painting is something from the neighborhood.
I admire what you do in terms of like everything you do. I interrupted you. He came back and paid you.
Yeah, and I literally caught red-handed, you know. I'm like, and the officer's like, wow. Turns out he was the chief of police of Miami.
Talk too.
Yeah. I think that we're right.
Recently is like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not go do this? Why not? Much for sitting down.
Thank you so much. You know, thanks for, you know, just putting energy into me. Honestly, let's just get it.
I love that. I love that energy. I will give you more than you need sometime.
I can't afford my own art.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about art. Okay. I don't even know how to bring it in, man. What do we even do here? Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Brinker. This is the Art Is Not Optional podcast. And I have a friend of mine with me today, and we're going to talk about art and his journey through art and where art has taken him and where art is taking him in the future. A little bit of backstory here. Him and I have been talking about a bigger art project that we're going to do this year. So that kind of was the catalyst for this whole conversation. When we were talking about that, I was listening to him and he was telling stories of his life. And I was just like, man, I want to hear you talk about this. And I want to share that with the world. Eventually, hopefully. For right now, it's the small following we've got and some people and friends and family. But without any more, this is Rob Fogle. Welcome to the podcast, my friend. It's wonderful to have you here. And I'd like for you just to introduce yourself quickly. Tell us a little bit about your backstory and maybe the beginning of your journey through art. And then we'll go from there, dude.
Rock on. Hey, guys, I'm Rob Fogle, Wilmington resident for probably like 15 years now. Matt, it's a pleasure. This is fun.
So excited to have you, man. So excited.
You know, as far as the backstory, you know, I've been making art my whole life. Mom's an art teacher, aunt's an artist, uncle's an art, or grandpa's an artist. You know, my mom,
you are not new to this. You are true to this.
Yeah. You know, and it's a wonderful thing to have that because I have a lot of art friends that were not accepted by their family. You know, so I definitely had a really big push. You know, of course, I can definitely push my family's buttons.
You're good. Yeah.
I knew pretty quickly that this is how I was going to be and what I was going to do because. You know, it sounds corny to say, but art is not optional. Yeah. It is how I am designed. So, you know, murals is really what put the wind beneath my wings as far as finding my place in art because I'm a very physical person and there's something about using your whole body and climbing ladders and you know, literally exhausting yourself in art process that really turns me on. You know?
Hell yeah. I love that. And so I was going to ask, like, what's your main medium? You said murals, but you do kind of everything, though, right? Pretty much, mostly tactile, like physical stuff. You're painting most things. You've painted. I've seen shoes. You've done tons of canvases and things. Tons of murals, doorways, like pretty much anything with paint, right?
Yes. There's not many services I haven't attempted, and so you know I work in film as well as a scenic, and that's even pushed the envelope even further as to what I've learned and how to apply paint. But you know, the reality is, and a lot of artists will know this, that art being an artist has nothing to do with what the medium is.
Yes.
You know,
I'm so glad you said that.
Last night I was taking old shirts and trying to figure out how I'm going to place them on other shirts, and it's like, you know, everything is a form of expression.
I'm so glad you said that. That's wonderful, and that's the whole premise, kind of why I want to do this and talk to people like you that have art kind of through their lives, and whether that be a business person or an artist or a creative or whatever it is, but people that understand that art and being an artist and a creative doesn't mean that's just what you do. It's a way of life. It's a way of looking at the world, and it's a way of perceiving the world around you that you can then digest and regurgitate to other people. And sometimes when you can't regurgitate that, I think the process of making the art allows you sometimes to digest and be able to regurgitate for people. And that's what I think is beautiful about art, and that's why I want to do this. That's why I've fallen so deeply in love with the artists and the creators and the makers and the painters and all this stuff, the dancers and all that. And of course I'm creative too, and I like what I do, but I so admire what you do in terms of like everything you do, but what you do in terms of the giant murals and the big paintings you do is just, I could never do that. And I'm enamored with that in people like you, because I've never seen you on a ladder for days on end, but I've seen you on a ladder before.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of your work locally here in Wilmington. I've seen pictures of stuff around, and it's really impressive to do something that large scale and to put art into the world for people just to view regularly. And every time I drive past the one you did in the back of the Last Resort, I always am like breaking my neck.
Nice.
So I look at it because it's such a cool painting. I don't know if anybody watching this might know where that is. Last Resort's down in Carolina Beach, and Fogle did the whole back wall of it, and it's super cool. When did you do that?
So that happened, man, I'm terrible at dates, but we'll throw out maybe
Random.
8 years ago, 10 years ago. So that was the original. That was a fun experience because, I mean, honestly, it could have been longer than that. But I came to town, like I said, you know, close to 15 years ago, and
where are you from originally?
well, originally from Michigan.
Okay.
And then I lived in New Jersey for a long time. I lived in Virginia for a long time. I lived kind of the East Coast is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But when I got here, Wilmington did not have a lot of murals. And I really wanted to get that ball going. And I read about the Fort Fisher Hermit. I got super excited. And I was like, I'm going to paint this guy. And, one, it'll give, Wilmington a mural. Two, it will allow me to paint a portrait of somebody that's, cool and deserves respect. And three, it'll get my name out there, like people see it. And and that's part of, painting is, you got to do self-promotion. So I went all over. It took me like 2 years to find a building because everybody was like, no, I don't want that painted on my building. And like that, that happens a lot. You get rejected a lot. And this was a free project I was trying to do.
You did all that for free?
Well, I did.
Okay.
And then,
I'm jumping the gun here, sorry.
And then the owner came to me afterwards and was like, no, you're not doing that for free.
That's awesome.
And he did pay me afterwards.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. I don't know if it's the one I know that owns the bar downtown too, and I don't know if it matters for names, but if Eli, we're talking about, Eli's awesome dude. I love Eli to death. Eli, one of my favorite things Eli's ever said, he looked at me one day, and I don't know if he remembers this at all, but he looked at me and took a drag of a cigarette and held it in, and he said, you know what I like about you? I think is what he said. He went, you know what I like about you? You mean it.
Nice.
And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you mean it. He's like, what you're doing, you mean it. You're not faking this. You mean it, and I see it. And I was like, dude, that's such a cool compliment. I don't even know if it's a compliment. Observation of somebody for him to, and I don't really know him that well, but for him to say to me, it was really cool. Anyways, I interrupted you. He came back and paid you.
Yeah, he's a good person.
And that's the Fort Fisher Hermit.
Yep.
That I believe lived down there on his own and then disappeared after a storm several years ago.
He was Carolina Beach's #1 attraction. So
what?
This guy, he moved from Shelby, North Carolina, which is where my family's from, and he just gave up everything and was like, I'm going to do whatever I want, which is,
Yeah, we're with you, buddy.
Yeah, and so he moved into an old World War II bunker, and people just loved it. Yeah. He kept on saying he was going to write this book called The School of Common Sense. Nobody's ever found it, but, it's still cool. I wrote that in the mural. The story of that mural keeps going. So as, 10 years goes by, art doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
And they, the city approached me and groups in the city and asked if I would, if they refinished the wall, if I would repaint it. So I just got that done in June, I think.
Oh, wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then there has since been, I came into Wilmington, I've been here 5 years ago, or 5 years now. And when I came in, there was art, not everywhere, but there was art places. So for me, it's like I drive down through Wilmington or drive down Carolina Beach and I see art everywhere. Our friend Rachel wrapped the water pump house right there, just on past Last Resort. And like, there's murals on there. So I guess, what have you seen in terms of art in this town since then? Have you seen it explode, blow up, continue to grow?
Absolutely. You know, and I'm not going to like say I'm taking credit for it, you know, it's just, you know, it was a little push in the right direction. I think art in general is really starting to make sense to people, you know? That's, you know, we were just talking earlier how if you see a gray wall, it's depressing, you know, like, and someone just has a big gray wall out there. Every day you're going to work, that's what you see. Nothing happens in your head, you know, and now you drive to work and there's big, beautiful colors and fun imagery.
Yeah.
You know, it's not too different than turning on the radio and hearing your favorite song. It puts you in a better mood.
It does. Even to the point, I have this beautiful watercolor tattoo on my thigh that a friend, an artist friend, did. Obviously, tattoo artist, but he's a painter, graffiti artist, mutual friend Brian Stacy, and I see it and it just makes me happy. It's beautiful. It's neon. Just tattoo on your head too. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. And like, art, colorful art just puts you in such a good mood. And even I was showing you around the building and I was thinking like, God, it'd be awesome if we could like do something cool with the building. Yeah. And like downstairs is we are looking, we're coming for you, We're coming for you, JT. We're scheming already, bud. The downstairs is kind of being positioned as a place where like a turnkey move-in spot for an office space. But how cool would that be if that was just filled with art?
Oh yeah.
Like that would make it such a cool, it already is a cool space, but even cooler of a space. So I think it's awesome. And I guess zooming out to me, when I met you through some art friends and a girl I was seeing at the time, and you were kind of presented to me as like Fogle's an OG of art in Wilmington. And not that we give you credit for, you know, all the art in Wilmington or anything, obviously, because different artists have come and gone and all that, but like I've known that you've been doing art here in this town about as long as anybody, if not longer than most people. And that's why it was so exciting. When I first met you, I didn't really fangirl because I didn't know you that well, but I was like, oh, I get to meet Fogle. This is so cool. And I've got friends, you know, that have been here longer than me that had told me about you before I actually met you. And it's so cool to then see the painting of the Hermit. I didn't even realize it was the Hermit. I knew the story of the Hermit. And it's so cool to see all that now come together, and to call you a friend and a peer now is wonderful. And to know that we're going to go on this, hopefully this big adventure this spring, summer, and fall of putting art into the world that you want to do. And we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm going to tease you guys a little bit because I don't want to go there yet. But it's just really cool to get to know these people. And even like I had a really cool moment that I want to give you snaps for, is I showed you some graphic design work and you're like, dude, I didn't know you did this. This is awesome. And that felt good to me, even if it wasn't like, oh, that's an amazing beer can label you did, Matt. But like just the mutual respect and recognition you gave me in that moment, that was probably very nonchalant for you. But me, I didn't tell people I did graphic design until about a year ago. I would tell people that I could do graphic design if you wanted me to, or I dabbled in it, but I wasn't confident enough in doing it. So I want to give you props for that, because that made me go like, oh man, if he's looking at that and going like, oh, that's cool, then that feels good to know from another artist standpoint. Like that. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. You also told me a story that I would love to get captured for the audience, because I think it's so impactful, about you at a big art festival in Miami. And that's all I'm going to say to set it up, and I'll let you tell the story how you want, because it's such a good story.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. We got time.
Yeah. All right. So there is this big art festival that happens in Miami every year, Art Basel. It's kind of it's weird details as far as what Basel is, because Basel is this traveling world show from Basel, Switzerland. And, you know, everybody in America, we're like super competitive. And so when Basel comes to town, everybody's like, no, this is Art Miami. And so the whole city of Miami just erupts into art. I mean, I haven't been in a few years, but I used to go religiously because it was almost like a religion. Like I would go there and I would see my very favorite artist painting right in front of me. And it was like going to school. Like I could just learn so much. And not only that, but I could put myself to the test. Like, well, I'm going to paint where they can see me. And it at the time, Wynwood, which is where the street art graffiti scene is, was not where it is today. There was no Starbucks. It was pretty aggressive.
A little more rough than it is now?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So you go down there. Well, I'll say this. I go down there with some friends, and I was the first one to get there. And we find this wall, which is not legal, but it also
it's just details. We don't care about that.
Yeah, it also was, an abandoned warehouse in an area where this is not I don't nay graffiti by any means, but I also like doing it with respect, so add to the space, not take away, for me. And so this is a giant wall. I mean, it's probably 20 foot tall, 30, 40 foot wide.
That's awesome.
And I'm got the whole wall buffed out, and I'm up on scaffolding. Yeah, we rented scaffolding to paint.
Awesome.
Yeah,
committed to this bit.
Yeah, while doing so, I get caught in the middle of a drive-by, and so I've got my big painted up RV there, and I am laying in between the wheel wells, with my hands over my head, and I'm calling Brian Stacy that we just talked about, and I'm like, yo, don't come, abort. And so, it was, high energy. And so because that happened, the police came, and, I'm just standing there like, there's nothing I could do. And, the officer walks up to me, and he says, are you here painting right now? And I'm like, literally caught red-handed, I'm like, yeah, I
Paint
am.
on my hands, I got it.
And he's like, dude, you are an idiot. He's like, this is a really rough spot. Like, if you knew what happens on this block. And while he's telling me this, and this is makes me cry every time it makes me, because we're going to go into this in a little bit, but I am literally basing a big part of my life on this moment. Like it rocked me,
This also rocked me, and I'm also taking a deep breath. So
this little lady walks up, and she's like, "Well, thank God, thank God." And the officer's like, "Why? There was just a shooting, there was a drug deal went bad." And he's like, "Why?" And she says, "Every day I walk outside, and all I see is these drug deals. I see these shootings, and I see this big blank wall." And now I had this big, colorful thing to look at. And she's like, and this makes me happy.
Yeah.
And so she's like, and he's looking at me and I'm like a criminal in his eyes.
Yeah.
And he's looking at me and he's like, is that so? And she's like, that's so. So turns out he was the chief of police of Miami.
That's crazy.
And he just leaves. And here I am just like, all right.
Oh.
So I go back to painting. And I don't know how long afterwards, but all of a sudden, this big Miami RV shows up, the mobile command center, and they block off the road. A big spotlight comes out of the top of the command center and spotlights my wall, and they protect me and my friends as we are painting this mural.
Yeah.
There's so many life lessons I learned in that I understood, but it's taken me this long to really understand the heaviness of I can continue to do this. Yeah. I can continue to change people's atmosphere in a positive way.
Yep.
And it really it feels a lot. It feels amazing to know that I have that potential.
It's crazy that when you told me that story, I kept getting goosebumps, and I actually told someone that story yesterday, and I was telling them, I was like, I'm gonna goosebumps, and then poof, they popped up, and I was like, it was such a cool story of, especially it being a rough neighborhood, this little lady coming out and being like, yo, actually this is really cool, that this is here, and then that the chief of police would do that is amazing. And this is roughly 10 years ago-ish?
Something like that. Okay. Yeah, 2012-ish maybe.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so a little more than 10 years ago. So this is, I first heard about Art Basel or Miami or whatever they call it. I don't know. I heard it called Art Basel like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I didn't know a little bit about it, but I know enough about Miami to know like, oh, there's certain places you probably don't want to go and be. And as you're telling the story, I'm like waiting for this heavy punchline of like, and you're like, drive by. And I'm like, oh man, this is going to get bad. And then to hear that story end the way that it did was so inspiring to me. And so just like, yes, that's what art does. And I don't remember if I told you this that day, but it was when I realized I could arrange flavors and textures and aromas in mixology in a fashion and form that made people feel things, and to be able to tell a story behind that as I make this little bit of art for this person personally, I can make them feel stuff. And I got really good at that as a bartender, and I started realizing like, if I can make people feel things like that with the video cameras, that's amazing. That's kind of my goal. And again, I'm a little jealous of you to be able to do stuff like you do, where you can make a physical thing that can last for a long time, people can keep looking at. The way the world is, like, I'm making something and the next day it's gone for me, and I want to make more stuff that lasts. So more conversation pieces and things like that. But anyways, I digress from that. Cool story. I love that. Is that mural still there?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. So it's funny that you say something that lasts. Things that a lot of people don't know about in my world is like, it is very temporary, especially because I blur the lines between street art and graffiti. It's everything is the scenario at hand, and when you get done something, the first thing you do is you say goodbye to it. Yeah. Because you just never know. You never know what
That's so true.
And I'll follow up with a quick story to that, which is because you never know. Is I did a piece in Philadelphia, really cool story. I'm driving around and I'm trying to find these walls, and I end up finding a spray paint store, and I tell the guy what I'm doing, and he's like, you know what? He's like, I'm gonna fund this. He's like, here's your spray paint. There's a wall over there in this alley. Go get it. And I'm like terrifying everybody in this alley, because here I am, this like bearded guy sleeping in his van, like painting, So what I did is I had everybody that walked by that I could tell was scared. I said, hey, tell me something that you really like. Tell me something, and they would tell me. And I paint, so the whole border of this painting is something from the neighborhood. And so I was really proud of the piece. And 4 years go by, which is a long time for a piece not to be touched, especially in a big city. And I get a phone call from a buddy that's like, hey man, somebody just tagged that there's a giant, tagged. It's not the same, And I'm like, yeah, it's all good, I'm surprised it took this long, and but it was a bummer, And then 4 days later, I get a call from the Office of Nothing by Nature, and they're like, oh hey, we just want to let you know that we used your mural for our biography video. And that was just before it got tagged. It was so it is forever then. It's on film forever, right? Yeah. That's cool. That's so cool. I love that, man. That's a good segue into what I really want to talk with you about, and just communication for you. It looks like we got about 8 minutes till the camera's cut, so we'll keep it as concise as we want. We can also ramble if we need to, so feel free as we go from here. But I didn't know that you did that piece about that where you incorporated all the community in there, and that's beautiful, and it makes me understand a little bit more about what you want to do going forward. So I'll shut up and give you the floor for this project that you want to do. And again, feel free, if the cameras go off, then I will restart them and we'll keep going. So tell us what you want to do in this project, and then maybe I'll kind of come back and let you guys know where my part of it is. But I want this to be about the project you want to do and what you guys are, what you're trying to bring to life. So floor is yours, my friend. Sure. So to try and describe the energy behind this this project I'm trying to work on, I'm going to start from the very ground. I have a very particular set of skills, and one of them is not living in modern society. So me either. The older I get, the harder it gets. There's just so much paperwork and so much, and I don't get any of it. Like I'm saying, like I don't get it. I don't understand how to live with how other people do it. And I heard a quote once that said, then don't. Yeah. and it really rocked me, and it was like, oh, that's why I go on these mural road trips. That's why, it's because I get to literally be, I use this, I think analogy is the right word, but I feel like I am a Native American, like on a horse hunting buffalo, because everything is so organic and free, and it hurts. It's hard. You get rejected a lot. But when you accomplish it, it's just so beautiful. And this is me traveling around painting murals at whim. So with that being said, it's like, well, combine that with the story of Miami, and it's like, hey, I have an opportunity to both fulfill my own personal desires of going out and creating art, and also I get to really impact the world in a way that I feel like it needs to. I used to paint in bigger cities, so I'd get a name, and now, and this is what the project is all about, now my goal is to go to the smaller towns, the towns that nobody goes to, the towns that never see a giant piece of art. And I am going to try and, do my best to paint it on my own, but I'm kind of hoping to gain a little momentum with maybe like crowdfunding or just views or whatever. Like, it's when I saw the videos of the guys doing yard work, and people were supporting him as he did yard work for people that didn't have the physical abilities to do it. Yeah. And I was like, man, I can do that there
with your art, with your skills and your abilities. Yeah.
And it's not just painting murals. I'm also a sign painter, which my grandpa was, and it feels really cool to walk in his shoes. And so if I see a locally owned business, not a big giant chain, I see a locally owned business in a small town with a rundown sign, I'm going to redo their sign. Yeah. If I see a big wall in an area that's run down in a town, I'm going to paint it. And obviously I'm not just going to go do it. I'm going to talk to people, and I'm going to, there's a whole system to it that, I kind of create that it works for me, and it just allows me to be me. But I'm hoping with that, somebody, like, I love to think about me as a little kid living in a small town, seeing a mural like that and being like, I can do that. Yeah. Because I remember, I just shared this post on Facebook not that long ago. I remember seeing my mom paint a mural when I was, a young lad. And I remember just being rocked, like, oh, you can just paint on walls? Cool. Yeah. So I would really love to kind of start that fire, Yeah. And that's really the nuts and bolts of it. And that's what's so exciting to talk to you is like, you have this like same energy of like, hey, I want to do this thing. And it's like, there's not a lot of words to it as far as like what the thing is. Yeah. But I want to do good. I want to live. I want to be full of expression. Yeah. And so we started, talking. Now we're here, and I think that we're about
to talk too.
Yeah, I think that we're about to do something really cool. Yeah, and
I think I want to kind of interject a little bit of my part too. Let me check this out. We're good on time. Hell yeah, I love that. I want to interject a little bit too, because my philosophy is, it's not mine, but the philosophy that we've talked about is a rising tide raises all ships. I have been so blessed to have amassed this amount of gear, to have made a name for myself in this town, so that when the opportunity came available, that JT showed me this space, that I was like, I have this, and he was like, cool, go. I have an opportunity, which I think gives me an obligation to share my work and my talents and abilities and skills that I've learned, not because of anything I've done, but because of everybody around me that's helped me. I almost feel guilty with how blessed I've been, and that makes me want to share that. It makes me want to give a voice to people that don't have it. It makes me want to tell stories of people that need their stories told. And when you first mentioned this idea to me, you sent me a video of you talking in the car, and I was like immediately like, yes, these are the things that matter in life. And I really appreciate your recognition of my like kindred spirit in that. Is like, I said this on a podcast I did Monday. This is a time capsule for me. I want my grandkids to look back and be like, yo, Grandpa Brinker did some cool stuff when he was young, you know? He went on this trip with this dope dude that painted murals all over North Carolina for free, but watched the community impact and watched it grow and watched the inspiration and watched what it did to the people that got to see it happen. And then where I come in is bringing that to the world digitally and recording that and telling your story and telling the stories of these towns and these communities is what I'm really excited for, because like that's just like that's what it's about, man.
There's this thing that happens with art is the more you listen to that voice, the more you allow it.
It just goes, right?
It rewards you.
Yeah.
It gives you gifts, and like only you can see them, you know, like
that's so true.
And so like the more this unfolds, all of a sudden like the universe is like, hey, this is for like listening to yourself. This is, and I swear it feels spiritual. It feels magic, and you know, if I don't listen to that voice, you know. I've been this way all day, by the way. It's
so good.
Yeah, I'm very. Anybody that knows me knows that I live on the edge of emotion. You know,
if you've watched me at all, you know that, and that's kind of how we got to this point. Though, is you saw me do a video where I was crying on camera. I think is the one you saw, and you were like, "Yo, Brinker's the one."
This is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And when we were talking the other day, I want to make sure I say this too. I'm gonna say it to you again: is that your emotions are safe here. Your energy and your rawness is safe here with me because I understand it. Because if it's human and it matters, then it should make you emotional. You should care about it.
Yeah.
And it should make you feel alive, and it should be something we don't apologize for. Mm-hmm. So I love it.
Yeah, holding on to electric fence, man, and I like
it. So I'll shut up. Sorry.
So there's something that you know how, and this is kind of heavy, but like, you know, in a disaster, if a building crumbles, they bring in the dogs to find people, right? If the dogs don't find somebody, they get so depressed because that's their job.
Yeah.
So what they do is they set people up to find these. They set up fake people.
Yeah.
So the dog can go home and feel rested. I am that dog. Like, if I don't fulfill this need to make art, I get so depressed. Like, and it steamrolls and it steamrolls, and I am ready to be I'm ready to find some people, you know.
Yeah.
So
what I think what happens to me is when I don't create things, I'm not expressing. Especially if I'm just consuming things. Especially in our world, just like consuming like this. Now, I'm not talking about like looking at beautiful art. Like if I'm looking at an art gallery, that's different. But if I'm just on my phone scrolling and consuming things, it kills me. So I've been trying really, really aggressively to scroll less and make more, and to care less about what people think about it and the outcome, but just knowing that down the road in 10 or 15 years, I want to know that I did it.
Absolutely.
I want to know that I did it and I went for it. And I was filming with a girl that works in the office earlier today, and we were out in the park. And it's a beautiful day outside. The park is full of people, and she's talking to my camera. I'm standing there with a camera holding it, and she's just talking. And she's like, I would normally not have done this. And I'm like, but isn't this so freeing to go like, I'm gonna make this no matter what.
Yeah.
And not asking for permission to create things and to be yourself and express yourself, just doing it. And knowing that you as a human are okay just taking up the space you deserve to take up and being yourself and creating the things and expressing and connecting the way you want is what you should be doing.
Yes.
And we should all be doing that. And that's kind of like the energy I think I've got here recently is like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not go do this? Why not go film in a busy space? And why not feel self-conscious that people are watching us? I'm sure you get self-conscious sometimes in your painting, especially in the beginning of a painting.
Yeah, it kind of fuels the painting, to be honest. I like it. Yeah, I'm like, oh, well, you know, I use that as energy.
No, that's awesome. So I'm really excited for this. I'm excited to see what you do. And I don't know, Wick, we're going to figure out some more nuts and bolts. I think you and I will probably sit down and talk more about this in the future. So you'll probably see him again because I want him back because I really enjoy your presence and your perspective and your history. And I'm excited about this project because I think the heart of it matters. And if the heart of it's right, then it doesn't matter. Personally, I don't care about the views. I don't care if we ever get famous. I don't care if we make $1 million off of it. I care that I get to be a part of you blessing communities and people. I hope that there's little Matt in one of these communities we get to go to. And little Matt goes, oh, you can just, like you said, you can just paint?
Yeah.
Because I told you when we talked last time, I've painted houses and I did little art projects and things, and I was always like okay at them, but I was never good at it. But I also didn't have an example of someone like you to look at when I was young. And if I had someone like you to look at when I was younger as an example of like, oh, you can do that, I probably would have taken a different route through life. So I'm excited to be a part of it. Do you have a tentative timeline to kick off this thing? This project?
the only thing that's holding me up right now is I am on the... I was supposed to get a hip surgery like 6 months ago, so hopefully that happens now that the new year's turned, and I got the insurance thing figured out, I think.
Yes.
So hopefully I finish this mural that's coming up soon, I think, and then that will pay for what it's got to pay for, and then a month of healing, and I would love to plan to a degree, but also I'm ready to just get moving.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping spring.
So we're like, as soon as possible, we're going to do this. As soon as you're ready and I'm ready, we're going to go. It's more about like making sure you're taken care of and you're healed and in the right emotional play and physical place.
I'm going to do it no matter what. I'll tell you that. Though.
Yeah.
Well, that's the cool thing too. I have to use lifts.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing too is like, I don't know if you said the other day, but I had that energy from you the other day when we talked. So I was like, we're doing this no matter what.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if your hip is perfect or not. It doesn't matter. Honestly, for me, it doesn't matter if I'm financially good. Let's take a day and do a day trip. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It could start small, but we'll figure all that out. But this is super exciting. I don't really have right now, because this is early on in this whole podcast, don't really have like a hook or an end, but I do want to give you the floor maybe to talk about where people can find you. I think eventually we'll probably have like a name for this project and like maybe a video series and account for it and stuff. So we're not that far, but for the purposes of who you are as a person and artist, where can people find you, and where can we connect with Rob on the online?
Well, that's it's kind of vague right now because I have let all my internet dwellings dwindle, but my lovely brother is coming down to help me with that next month, and we're gonna get the website back going. Other than that, my Instagram is Fogle Art, where you can see most of the projects I've worked on, Fogle art, and then hopefully from there I'll have a website that's.
Yeah, well, I'll probably come back and update the description of this video, and then future videos, obviously, that'll be in too. So, depending on when you're watching this, it should be in there or not. We'll see. But yeah, Fogle Art everywhere. We're on Instagram mostly. I think most artists live there. People are pretty used to it. It feels like Instagram's pretty ubiquitous, but we're talking about doing like website, Instagram, Facebook,
sure.
YouTube, all of it. Like, we're going to do all of it when we do this. So, it's going to be a whole thing. Thank you so much for sitting down.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate this time, and what I want to do with this space, I'm just telling you because I'm thinking out loud here, is this is a space for me to talk with art friends that inspire me about why art is important in life, whether that be through business, through just artists and creatives. And this has been wonderful to sit and chat with you for a little bit. I hope that the audience got some insight into who you are, and I hope they're excited about this project we have coming up, because I'm certainly excited about it. I know you are too. Any closing thoughts, my friend?
Not really. Just thanks for just putting energy into me, and I am excited to put it back into you. Honestly, let's just get it.
I love that, and that's important too. I think I'll end it there because that's what I'm most excited about. The same as I'm most excited about that in this building is all the other creative people that are in my orbit and in my ecosystem right now. I will give you energy. I will give you more than you need sometimes.
Yes.
But that, I think, is infectious.
I can relate.
When people give it back, I'm like, yes. And I get that back from you. I get that back from the people down the hall from me. And that's wonderful. So thank you all so much for watching. My name is Matthew Brinker. This is Rob Fogle. This has been Art is Not Optional. And if you don't know it, art is not optional. And also, if you can't afford to pay for art,
yeah.
I got a whole backstory on that. We'll talk about this some other time. So that's all for me. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. So thanks, man. That was awesome.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I might end up cutting that last piece out, but that's fine.
So that was like a hook towards your next show?
That's
pretty cool if that was.
Yeah, that's like, I always try to leave something silly at the end that I might or might not cut out. Like, it might stay, it might leave. Like, this honestly might stay in here too. Like, what is he chugging?
Yeah. But it is cool that, like, if you're watching something like, oh, well, I want to know about that because I can't afford my own art. Yeah.